Hello everyone and welcome back to the Balanced Student Podcast. I'm your host, Aria Emily, and today we're talking about something a bit different. We're talking about financial habits, specifically ones that I would recommend to you if you are a student. Before we go any further, I do just want to give a full disclaimer that all of this advice, recommendations is coming from me as a 19-year-old uni student in Australia. So if you are a different age or you're in a different country, your situation is going to look very different, and I fully acknowledge that. So please take everything in this episode with not a grain of salt, but just think about what applies to you and what doesn't. Because things that might be possible for me in Australia might be impossible for you if you're living in a completely different country. So just keep that in mind. And also please don't feel like you are behind or feel like you're being pressured to do something. This is simply some suggestions that you can take on board if you would like, but there is literally no pressure to take on anything in this episode, and you are not behind. Whatever stage you're at is amazing. These are just some tips that I feel like can help. Also, I am not by any means a financial advisor. Yes, I do my research on finances, and yes, it is a bit of a personal hobby of mine to keep track of things and understand where my money is coming from and where it is going, but I'm not a financial advisor. However, I do have a friend who is one, so let me know in the comments if you guys would like me to see if she can come on the podcast and give you guys some actual expert advice and opinions. So yeah, let me know. Also guys, I would absolutely love if you are enjoying this episode. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're new to my YouTube channel, welcome as well. And I would really appreciate if you guys could rate this podcast. It would literally take you 20 seconds. Just go back to the main page of the Spotify thing and click on ideally the 5 stars, or whatever else you want to rate it, that's fine. But we have 120 ratings now, which is insane. And also guys, we just reached 100 members in Academy, literally yesterday. I'm actually so happy with that. That's amazing. It took so long to get to that point, and it's still got a lot more improvements to do and a long way to go from here, but it was a really big milestone, and I'm really happy, and I'm just so grateful for everyone who's in that community, learning from the things that I've done and supporting each other and lifting each other up. It really means so much to me. So it's been a really big milestone, and I'm just so grateful to all of you guys who are in there. Oh yeah, and also if you're on YouTube guys, if you could subscribe or like this video, whatever, it would help the channel out so much, so thank you so much. Okay, I made a post the other day talking about all of the jobs that I've had so far as a 19-year-old living in Australia, and that post did really well, and a lot of people wanted to know more about that. And while I could do a whole episode specifically on jobs for students, which I'm going to touch on a little bit in this episode, but if you guys want a whole episode on jobs that students specifically can take, let me know. And this kind of leads me to my first tip, which is if you don't already, try and find yourself some kind of casual or part-time work. Obviously this is going to be so dependent on your age and your country's age restrictions, and then also just how much time you have, because if you're in uni you probably have a bit more time to work than if you are in high school, if that makes sense. At least in Australia that's the case, but every country is completely different, because I know that in France, for example, when I was living there, people don't work in high school at all. In Australia, most people start working from age 14 to 15, and by the time we're 18 or 19, we have a fair bit saved up, and we have a fair bit of work experience that we've already done. Whereas I think people in maybe Europe, I don't know about America, I feel in the US they start working pretty young as well, and maybe the UK as well, but I think that from what I've heard, Europe and Asia and the Middle East, I think they start working later, I believe. I could be completely wrong. But yeah, what I'm saying is if you're able to try and find some sorts of income. I'm just going to tell you guys the jobs that I've personally done my whole life, and then this will also give you some inspiration and also give you guys a couple of other suggestions which I haven't done, but they might be really good options for you. So the first ever job that I had was a cat sitter. It was such a fun job, but basically I just made a poster and I put it in people's letterboxes around my neighborhood that were in walking distance, and I got I think only one client from that, but I worked with them over a year, so it was pretty good. I then worked as a babysitter only a few times, maybe 2 or 3 times I ever worked as a babysitter, and it's fun. It's a nice job. You get to play the whole time, which is nice. I was also a sausage flipper and a barista at a cafe, and I worked as a bakery sales assistant. Any kind of food hospitality jobs are really good for students because they often have really chill casual hours after school and stuff. I also delivered flyers for my local sports club, which was good, but it was really hot all the time, and walking for that long in summer is quite difficult. I also currently work as a private tutor, which is definitely one of my favorite jobs I've ever had. It is so rewarding, and it's also really good because I can choose my hours, so I can make it work around uni and my business, all these things. But it's just really rewarding because I get to sit there one-on-one with a student, help them with things, and then see them figure out something and learn and just feel more confident in a subject. So it's a really rewarding job, and I would definitely recommend that. I also worked as a commercial actor only once, so I can't really talk too much about that one, but it was fun. It's a pretty good experience, and yeah, it's just a fun job. I am also currently a content creator, as you guys can see from watching this, and it is a very fun job. However, the income side of things is very unpredictable. So just keep that in mind if you're considering that. Like, don't go into content creation for the income side of things, because yeah, I could talk about that for a while, but it's interesting. I'm also currently working as a research assistant, and it is a really good job. Definitely recommend, but usually you have to be in like uni and have done a uni degree for that. So that's a bit like, yeah, not the easiest job to get into. I also work as a beauty advisor in retail slash beauty industry. I don't know what industry that is in, but it's also really good. It's just like a pretty fun, chill job. It's good. And then also as an entrepreneur, definitely not the easiest job I've ever had, probably the hardest job I've ever had. Yeah, it's a bit brutal, but it's really good because like I learn a lot every day. Your income is technically unlimited, but also really unpredictable, and it's also just really motivating and keeps my soul alive to be able to create and just help the world. But yeah, if you're a student looking for predictable, stable income, I would not recommend either content creation or entrepreneurship. You gotta have a bit of a backup as well. Until those things are fully established, then you can pull your heart into it. But as a student, you probably want something that's just like shift work or around the neighborhood and things like that. So a couple of the other suggestions that I had: bartending if you are of legal age, obviously. Gardening for your neighbors. This is something that my brother does and he really enjoys, and our neighbors are really grateful, so that's awesome. You can also do like dog walking. I've never done that, but it sounds cool, it sounds fun, you get to play with dogs. So yeah, but obviously this is going to depend so much on where you live, and there's so many options out there. The main message here is just to have some source of income, because if you're not taking any money in, like how can you even do anything with it, if you know what I'm saying? Again guys, if your country doesn't let you have a job at the age that you're at, don't worry, you're not behind, you are perfectly exactly in the right place, especially in your country. So please just understand that. My second piece of advice is to save a percentage of whatever you earn. If you're living at home and you don't have to pay rent, then I would recommend saving about 50% of whatever you earn. So if you make $100 a week, then put $50 into your savings. If you are living out of home and you do have to pay rent, then you could also use the 50-30-20 rule, which is 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and then 20% for savings. Obviously adapt this as you need. You know, if your rent is higher, then obviously you're gonna need to put a bit more towards that, or if you're saving up something, then you might need to put more in savings. It is totally up to you, but as long as you put a percentage into savings. And off of that, number 3 is to have a savings goal, so something that you're saving for. I feel like a lot of us in this younger generation, myself included, can be a bit pessimistic about the future and knowing whether we're ever going to be able to buy a house or move out or all of these things, which is fair, and that is certainly a valid thing to be worried about. Like, that's something that I genuinely am stressed about on a daily basis. Like, even though I live in a safe and wealthy country, that stress is still there for me. So if you're feeling that as well, you're not alone. But the problem is though that a lot of young people will think like, what's the point of saving if I'm not going to be able to afford this anyway, like no matter what, because of inflation. Yes, again, that is a valid concern and a valid thing to think. But what I'm trying to say here is just you have something bigger in mind. So it doesn't have to be saving up to move out or buy a house. Maybe that's to go on a trip with your friends, get a car, or like whatever it is that is bigger than what you're currently doing. Having something to save up to and work towards is just a really good thing to do. So really just have something that you can look forward to and get into the practice of putting even just a small amount towards it every single week. Number 4 is to practice delayed gratification. What is this, you might ask? This is when you don't immediately allow yourself to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So you deliberately wait to enjoy it rather than impulsively spending something right when you earn it. For example, because I work a bunch of different jobs, I kind of get paid like at different points throughout the week, and where I could just go like, oh my gosh, yes, I just got paid, I'm gonna spend it all on something on Tuesday. I actually wait until Sunday and I kind of let that all collect, and then on Sunday I will divert it into my different accounts, and then whatever I have allocated towards my spending, or what I like to call my self-investment account, that is what I will use to spend on things that I want. The main point from this is that when you get paid, wait. A side note on that is that if you see something that you really want to get, take a photo of it and keep it in your phone for at least a week, and after a week, if you still want it, then get it. But if you always buy something the moment that you see it, you will end up in so much regret and just have so many things that you don't need. I've been doing this practice myself. I actually have a whole board on my Notion of my priority list of things that I need to get. Like if I need to get a refill of shampoo, I have it on the top one. Also guys, someone you just joined Academy, that was actually so cool. I just saw the notification pop up and I was like, oh my god, hi. That's so cool. I'm happy with that. But yeah, and then when I put something on that priority list, I will keep it on there for at least a week. And then if I look back at it and I still want it and I'm still thinking about it, then I'll consider getting it, but I don't ever get something, unless it's obviously urgent, like if I need to get new band-aids, I'm not going to put them on a priority list, but I will wait a week before reconsidering if I want to get it or not. This may not be fun to start off with, and it may feel like, oh my god, this is so painful to do, but that is the most important part about it. It is that waiting that will save you so much money and so much regret, so just trust me on this. it'll pay off, literally. Number 5, I feel like this one's the most student specific, but eat food from home. I know how tempting it is to make sushi from uni every single day. Definitely not speaking from experience, definitely didn't spend like half my income on sushi in first semester of uni. But think about it, like the average lunch is $12, and if you're at uni 5 times a day, then 5 times 12 is 60, and then 60 times 52 is $3,120. Whereas if you had the option to make something from home for free, or obviously if you live out of home, buying the groceries is still gonna be cheaper than eating out lunch every day. So you're still gonna be saving a lot of money if you eat from home. I'm not saying don't ever go out and have lunch with your friends, because that is such an amazing experience and it's just so much fun to do that, and I would not want to take that away from you. But if you had the option to eat food that you've cooked from home every single day versus getting it at uni and paying for that every single day, I think we both know what the better option is going to be long term. I feel like this one and the next one kind of go hand in hand, because like one thing is don't spend money on things that you don't really care about and things that you can kind of get for free. But then the last point, which I want to say, is to spend money on things that matter and spend money on things that are going to make your life better. This is something that I personally feel really passionate about, and that is why my spending account is actually called my self-investment account, because when I spend money on something, I'm not just putting my money away and letting it go into the world. I'm spending money on something that's actually going to make my life better. For example, this shirt here, I bought it from Lululemon. Lululemon is not the cheapest place, but this shirt is so flipping comfortable, and I have worn it every single day since I bought it, and like it's made my life better. Not every piece of clothing that you get is going to have like the most amazing impact on your life, but especially when it comes to clothes, don't spend all your money on trendy clothes you're only going to wear once and you're only getting just to like fit in. Spend money on clothes that are actually going to be comfortable, actually going to make you feel better and more happy and going to be more productive. Because also something that I realized recently is like, what is the point of having money if you're not going to use it to make your life better? Like say you had $1 million, but it was just sitting in your bank account and you were in the exact same position in your life. What is that doing? Like, even if you died with that amount of money, like how did you make your life better? How did you make your family's life better? How did you make the world better? Like any money that you get, give it a purpose. Like whether, if it's not in your savings, then put it towards like an experience or learning something, like a course. I definitely have gone through phases where I've been like, okay, I'm gonna save every single cent that I earn. And yes, there is a time and place for that. Like if you have a really, if you have a time sensitive savings goal that is really important to you, then yes, that's going to be important. But if you are kind of like cruising and yes, you're saving a good amount, don't ever not do that. But oftentimes the things that you actually invest money into are going to bring you greater returns, whether that is monetary or just making your life better. And those things are so worth putting your money into. I've got a couple of examples here if you're struggling to think like, what is this whole concept? I feel like this is a lot more prevalent as you reach like higher levels of wealth, like when you actually get a 9 to 5 and you actually kind of go above and beyond rather than just getting your student paycheck, which I get. But here are some examples of things which students can invest in to make your life just a little bit better. Number 1 is a good quality planner. I use the one from the Productivity Method and it is amazing. It is so high quality, it was so well thought out, and it's just really good. And the thing with that is that it will help keep your life more organized and just help you feel more on top of things, and hence your life feels better. Number 2 could be to get a massage, especially after exam season when like your whole back and shoulders are just like in so much pain. Getting a massage can be like $40 depending on where you live. But yeah, that's something that I personally really like to invest in because I know that it's going to leave me feeling just so much more relaxed and at peace and grounded for like a week afterwards. Number 3, invest in academy, because that is investing in your education, your health, your sanity, and your entire future. So when you invest in academy, you're investing in your entire life. I have linked the link to join academy in the description if you guys want to check it out. Another one could be noise cancelling headphones to help you focus better, a water bottle to keep you hydrated, such as this one here, and even something like sleep spray to help you get better sleep, or skincare to help your skin feel better. There's so many that I can think of here. Anyways, you get the idea, but anything that you can invest money into, whether that is a thing or an experience, but yeah, just really think about when you're spending your money, is this an investment or is it just putting money into a thing that is not going to give me anything back into my life and make my life better? But yeah, those are the 6 main tips that I have for you guys. I really hope you found it helpful. This is not something I usually talk about, and I apologize if I sound like less confident than usual, just because I am, because this isn't something that I usually talk about. I'm a lot more practiced at talking about studying and well-being, but finances are really important, and I think especially as students there's so much of a stigma around students being completely broke, and yes, that is very easy to be the case, and I think I am really lucky in Australia that I started working so young and that we're allowed to start working so young, because I feel like I have a stable enough foundation that I can build off of, and if I want something I can save up for it, whereas people in other countries aren't physically allowed to work, so they can't physically, but I think it is really important to also not just feel so pessimistic about it and be like, oh yeah, I'm a student, I'm just broke and like just spending your money on noodles and stuff. Maybe I'm in just like a really fortunate position to be able to say that. I don't know, it's a very interesting topic, and I do appreciate that a lot of this kind of thing can be sensitive to people, especially young people. So I hope that you guys could find this video helpful. Like, I feel like I have so much to share in this regard, but it's really just not something that is often talked about in the study space. So let me know if you guys find this video helpful, and if you want me to get that like financial advisor person on this podcast, because she can give you some like actual proper advice and she'll be very knowledgeable and confident talking to you guys about it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give this podcast a rating, and if you're on YouTube, then subscribe, do all the things, even leave a comment if you enjoyed this episode, that'd be amazing. And also I've linked the link to join Academy in the description if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.